Okay, fossils show that primitive birds were living in Germany at that time, in the Alps at that time. And the reptile birds lacked the lightweight air or gas-filled bones of later forms. They had teeth in their jaws, here we go, a reptilian skeleton in the wings and pelvis, and a long reptilian tail. This one is called Archaeopteryx. I can't pronounce that, but that's one, and here's another one, and there's one. Okay, now I thought this was so interesting. Listen to this. A passage from Encyclopedia Britannica states, just how feathers evolved from reptilian scales is unknown, but it is known that the two are similar in chemical composition, and that some ancestral forms had scales bearing an imprint of a feather-like pattern on their surface. It's almost like they were leaving a message. This is the way you're going to do it. Now, reptile birds fertilize the eggs of reptile birds, and descendants evolved a way to shed lead in their stools, which gave birth to true birds around 136 million years ago. Now, birds have a limbic system in their brain. Now, this is a schematic drawing of a brain. Now, this is the neocortex, that's in mammals. This little gray layer is the limbic system, and this is the reptilian or our cortex. We inherited this from reptiles. This we inherited from, well, I think this is part of the mammalian heritage. And all of this sits on top of the chassis that we inherited from the fish. Okay, but every part, just mammals and birds are the only ones with this limbic system. And both of them spend a lot of time taking care of their young. And research shows that strong, vivid emotions originate in this limbic system. Gives you, makes you react to road rage, carbon dioxide levels, increased carbon dioxide, violence, etc. Okay, now every part of the earth had plant-eating dinosaurs around 136 million years ago. And everywhere the plant-eaters were preyed upon by the giant flesh-eating dinosaurs. Now the duck-billed, bipedal, plant-eating Ankylosaurus roamed North America. Let's see, do I have a picture of him? No, but he looked a little bit like this one. And he was heavily built, 30 to 40 feet long, and he had as many as 2,000 teeth. Now, Ankylosaurus fed on land, but he would run to the water to escape the predators. Now, Triceratops, oh, he was an interesting looking one. He had a collar of bone, a ruffled collar around his neck, and 3 long pointed horns. And he was about 25 feet long, and he weighed 8 to 9 tons. But he was a plant eater. He had all these horns and this bone around his neck to protect himself from the meat eaters. Now, I like this picture. Look at the size of this dinosaur's mouth. And this is the skull of a human being. Look at the comparison. This thing could just gobble you up in no time. Okay, Allosaurus of North America weighed about 2 tons and was about 34 feet in length. Like the typical dinosaur predator, Allosaurus was bipedal. He walked on his hind legs, and he had those little tiny forearms. But now, the whole earth, North America, eastern Siberia, and China were dominated by the powerful Tyrannosaurus rex. Here's Tyrannosaurus rex. Tyrannosaurus rex was about 47 feet long, with a skull of more than 4 feet in length and a weight of about 8 tons. He had a larger brain than plant-eating dinosaurs and most other flesh-eating dinosaurs. He had multiple rows of 6-inch long teeth that had serrated edges that were efficient for cutting and slicing. Now, he walked on his hind legs, but he leaned forward. He was he had a stooped carriage. And if he had stood up straight, he would have been 20 feet tall. So now, Tyrannosaurus fertilized the eggs of mammals, and marsupial placental mammals appeared in North, Central, and South America around 136 million years ago. Now, an encyclopedia passage states, marsupials are born prematurely and complete the development outside the mother's body while attached to her nipple. Now, marsupials are animals like kangaroos, opossums, and if you look at this kangaroo down here, look at this one, and look at Tyrannosaurus, you can see they look almost exactly alike, because this thing fertilized the eggs of the mammal. Can't you see the resemblance? Now, most marsupials have a pouch or flap of skin that lies over the nipples, but the pouch isn't always there. Marsupials have a half-evolved reproductive system because reptiles fertilize those eggs. Now, the mammalian, or the female half, the inner structure is completed, but the outer structure isn't. The marsupials, they're born half, they're not even completely formed, and they complete their development in the pouch. Now, starting around 136 million years ago, marsupials formed large populations in North, South, and Central America. Now, most of those marsupials were opossums, and most of them evolved in Texas, and they were specialized early in different directions, which means their body structures were no longer capable of changing and adapting. They had just been locked in because of that, in one pattern, because of that reptilian heritage. Now, reptiles dominated the earth. They killed the mammals and fertilized the eggs, just as trilobites and ammonites did. Kangaroos, opossums, wombats, wallabies, koala bears, and Tasmanian devils are examples of marsupials. Now, all of them have the shortened forelimbs and are violent animals. Now, some marsupials, like the kangaroo, were about 6 feet tall and about 10 feet long and weighed about 200 pounds. Now, the kangaroo has those little short forearms, well-developed hindquarters, and he has claws and digits. His fingers and his claws are almost identical to those of Tyrannosaurus rex. Marsupials, all these descendants of dinosaurs, mostly Tyrannosaurus rex, are typically solitary animals. They they're not sociable, not at all sociable. And kangaroos often travel around in packs that are known as mobs. But there's no leadership. The largest male kangaroo dominates the younger ones by kicking, biting, and boxing. And kangaroos have little intelligence. They're not very smart. Okay, now you'll see throughout history, there's always enslavement and breeding, always occurs, and it's because that's what you have to evolve through in order to be a co-creator. Okay, reptiles were daytime creatures. Now, the little mammals had big brains, and they were expanding their fish heritage, and they mutated to nighttime placental creatures with internal fertilization in order to keep dinosaurs from dominating them. Now, modern science says the first primitive placental mammals appeared in the Gobi region of Mongolia around 85 million years ago. That's Gobi region would be somewhere around in here. So they over in Asia. And they resembled modern hedgehogs. Insectivore placental mammals have a small cerebral hemisphere in the brain. They feed chiefly on insects, and they've never increased much in size. The largest is only about 20 inches long. Hedgehogs, moles, and shrews are current-day insectivore placental mammals. Now, the smallest American mammal is a shrew. The elephant shrew of Africa is the most important insectivore for students of evolution. It's a little small, hopping animal. It looks like a rat almost, and it shows many affinities to the tree shrew, which is considered to be a primitive mammal. Now, all placental mammals, including all different types of mice, rabbits, seals, horses, tigers, elephants, bats, whales, cows, armadillos, rhinoceros, dogs, cats, gorillas, and man have one common insectivore ancestor. Okay, now marsupials, with the exception of opossums, migrated through South America, across Antarctica, into Australia around 85 million years ago when placental mammals evolved. That's why all the kangaroos and the wombats and the Tasmanian devils are over there and not anywhere else. They migrated when placental mammals evolved.